What's good, everybody? It's your boy Kentown Raider here. We're fresh off the big W we got in overtime against the Broncos last night. Uh, kind of a surprise that once it came down to the end that we actually were able to pull one off. We got some people in the chat. What's good, Primos? Salute. Top Beats. What's happening, buddy? Not much, Primos, man. You know, just got done having dinner with the family and everything, and to kick back and chat with the nation a little bit. Feel free. I sent out the link to you, Primos. If you want to come up, man, feel free to pop up. I know you're about to be live in an hour, and we'll be checking you out too. Takeaways from the game. Got it. He's been getting a lot of hate. He's been getting a lot of hate basically the whole season. But yeah, DC, man, he played a hell of a game. Certain situations he was still, rough. Couple times when we felt like he should have been able to go put this game away earlier, he kind of hesitated and faltered, but eventually, defense gave him enough time and he got it done. Primo says, let's discuss this win. How we feeling? It's bittersweet, man. I think if you watched Doc's last night after the game, kind of summed it up. I'm not over here getting too excited or anything. It's cool. It's always nice beating the Broncos. Like, it's always nice. At the same time, we went from the number 2 draft pick to number 4 draft pick. While it's kind of hard to not think about that right now, considering that's about the only big thing we got going, is where we're going to pick in the draft. I feel like our draft position is just going to keep changing up and down till the end of the year. So as of right now, man, it's like it is what it is. I hope we don't go and, end up 8-9 or 9-8 or 7-10 or something like that and pick 15th. That's the last thing I want to see. I want to see us get one of the elite college prospects, especially at quarterback. Definitely don't want to see see us in the middle of the first round. Definitely would like to see a CJ Stroud, a Bryce Young, a Will Levis, somebody of that caliber, even if we're out on the big quarterbacks, maybe a big time defensive player. Top Beat says, this win is much like the win over the Texans. I don't see us winning any more than 2 or 3 more games. Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. I'm not upset with 5-12, 6-11. 6-11 be pushing it a little bit. But I definitely don't want to see us go win 8-9 games. Barely miss the playoffs. For what? Why? We get nothing out of that. It'd be a big disappointment for us to pick in the mid rounds. We definitely need to get the best player we can possibly get in round 1. Red Primos, yeah, you're right, bro. Like, I want to change our mentality from losing to winning. So if we win, cool. And if we lose, then got to look towards the offseason. Yeah. I mean, if we win, man, it's still I'm still just looking towards the offseason. I don't feel like we're going to rattle off 7 in a row and make the playoffs and none of that. Even the team that was out there yesterday, I don't think I don't think they played up to a playoff level. And I mean, we were playing the Broncos. So we expected to win that, most of us. With the way things are going, a lot of us might have said, oh, maybe we'll find a way to lose. That was always feasible, especially when they were up 10-0. It was like, oh, fuck. Even them, they're going to whoop our ass. But, they showed some perseverance, made it through, and got the dub. We finished 5-12, beating the Niners. That would be dope to beat the Niners. I'm personally from Washington State, and so I got to deal with a bunch of Seahawk fans all the damn time. I'll be in Seattle for the game next week, and I'm hoping we get that one too. Let's see. I'm from Oakland, and everyone keeps talking about Frisco, but for me, I want to beat the Chiefs. Bottom line, F the Niners. As beautiful as it would be to steal one from the Chiefs this year, man, I don't see it. I just don't see – I don't even see this same team that got within a point of beating them. I don't think that team's even – I don't think we're at that level even now. I don't see us beating the Chiefs. especially if the Chiefs are fighting for home field advantage at that point or anything. They're going to want to come in there and whoop our ass, and I don't think we have the firepower to really bang with them. I believe you said this yesterday, or Big Mike. We have to look at this team could play a Buffalo team in Buffalo or KC in KC. Yeah, no interest in watching us go lose 35-0 in the snow. Would have no interest in that. We're not all naive, man. If we go play one of those teams in their home stadium, they're gonna beat us, unless we have some Herculean effort, which we haven't seen all year. Then maybe some miracle would happen, but I 99% doubt it. But like I was saying, Derek Carr stood out for me as one of the key players. He really looked good. He looked like the high end version of DC for the majority of the game, especially there in overtime, man. And then it brings me to my next guy, man. Devontae Adams is a fucking savage. The dude he deserves so much better than what he's gotten with this team. Primos, we got to see how this team plays out so that we can predict the draft and free agents. Absolutely. I actually today was going through on Spot Track and checking free agents, and I have a top 5 wish list at each position right now. I'll probably go over that here in the coming days, weeks. I'm sure it'll change as we get closer and stuff. I'll start talking a lot more about that. So let's say we lose the remaining games. Do you think we cut or trade DC and try to get a journeyman quarterback in draft for defense, or keep DC? I don't see a scenario where DC stays. I don't see a scenario where Ziegler and McDaniels want to eat that contract and continue letting this guy be mediocre half the season. I don't see it. I don't see where it's worth it. Oh man, we got my guy Big Mike up in here.
Yo.
What's good, buddy?
I'm good, man. I fix my green screen.
Oh.
Hold on.
All right.
So Ghetto Productions, you know. Hold on.
Here, you fix do your thing, man.
You're good, bro. You're good. We're good. There you go. There it is. All right.
There we go, Kamala.
Hey.
All right. So Top Beats was saying, let's say we lose the remaining games. Do you think we cut or trade DC, try to get a journeyman, draft for defense, keep DC? I was saying, still don't see a scenario where we keep DC. What do you think, Big Mike?
Yeah, man. You know, it's tough because he has a game like he did this game. It's going to be hard to part ways with him, especially if, from a front office perspective, they're kind of like, hey, let's have some continuity in this offense. And, he's our guy, so, I don't know.
Tabby says, I'm sure Big Mike, we all see the stripper hiding in the background.
That's what I'm trying to hide, bro. I got a whole ring in the back. You know what I mean?
That's the real purpose of the green screen, right?
Yeah, man. I got, my side hustle, I got to separate the two, bro,
Big Mike low-key lives in a brothel.
Yeah, you got me, bro. You got me.
All right. Primo says, I think Carr gets cut after the season. We go get a bridge. I don't know who, but we draft Hall from BYU. I know Primos has been real big on Jaren Hall.
I haven't seen him play yet, but you know what? As far as these quarterbacks go, like there really isn't any quarterbacks like coming out that I'm really super impressed with, to be honest with you. I mean, I like next year's draft class a lot better.
Of course,
Caleb Williams leading the way. Yeah. Yeah. But there's a lot of other guys too. Like next year's the better draft class. That's what they're saying. That next year is the better draft class. So this one's good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but if they want some continuity with that offense, the idea might be you got to give DC another year. I know nobody wants to hear that, but that might be the case.
Yeah. I don't. I just if we're going bridge quarterback, I'd rather go like I think I said this in the last one. Pay Garoppolo 15 instead of paying DC 40.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of where we have a problem is that we're paying the man $40 million next year.
Yeah,
Do you want to give a man that's really inconsistent, wildly inconsistent, $40 million? That's the question of the offseason. That's going to be the number one question. Do you want to pay a man who's wildly inconsistent $40 million? That's kind of
yeah.
where we're at right now.
I sure don't. And then at that point, you don't even have your out on the contract next year. It's like this year we can cut DC and only eat $5 million. Next year, you're eating a lot more if you cut him.
Yeah, you know what? We got a lot of things to think about in this
Absolutely.
offseason because and what seems to me is that the whole tanking idea might not be their idea. Maybe that's just from a fan's perspective. Like, hey, we don't have time. We're not going to make the playoffs. Might as well tank it up. But I
Yeah,
don't think you guys think that.
I was kind of seeing the celebration in the locker room last night, and that didn't look like a team that was trying to tank to me. They looked very, very happy about that win.
Yeah, yeah. It would. You know what? And I was looking at the schedule. It's like, the Chargers play the Cardinals this weekend. We play the Seahawks. Now, if there's two upsets happening for that, we got the Chargers the following week. We beat them in that one, going in there 4-7. They're 5-6. We're in second place. As crazy as that sounds, and the teams in front of them right now, the Chargers is the Jets, the and the Patriots. And the Patriots' schedule isn't so great, and we still, isn't so. It's a tough schedule. They have a tough schedule, and they still have to deal with us towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
The Jets, they can't get it together on offense. So, and then the Colts, they got an interim head coach, and I'm not saying playoffs, but we got 3%. But we start stacking these wins. We might look up and be playing for something in December. I'm not saying we're making the playoffs, but we might be playing meaningful games in December.
That'd be insane. After the way this year's transpired, man, that'd be the last thing I'd ever expect to see.
Yeah.
And I don't like playing that if game because if you see yourself, hey, we're 2 games out, and you really start to push it and you miss the playoffs by a fucking game and we're picking 15th.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be happy.
No, nobody will. And the problem with this whole idea of tanking is that the team doesn't see it that way because every game they've been in.
Yeah.
So their whole mindset is we can win in any game that we played.
We just got to finish.
Yeah, we just got to finish. So if they start, if their mindset is let's just finish these games, let's stack 7 in a row and squeak in at 10-7. Let the other games kind of fall into place and kind of just do what they can control at this point.
Right.
That's their mindset. So, I don't know if of course they don't think tanking is a good idea. I don't think so. I think Derek Carr's playing for his damn career.
Oh yeah, for him, he's trying to win every single moment out there. He knows his only chance of winning is to get this team in the playoffs. His only chance of staying.
To be honest, I think the front office really still believes in this Derek Carr to Devontae Adams connection.
Man, it's so sad, man. Because when you see it work the way it's supposed to, it's like, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Why can't it be like this at all times? Devontae Adams is, after yesterday, man, I don't care how many yards Tyreek Hill gets. There's nobody better in the NFL than Devontae Adams at wide receiver.
Yeah, you're right.
Nobody.
You're right.
Let me hit these chats. So I think we'll get Top B says, so I think we'll get Jimmy G. He's playing better than DC, but I see Rodgers, Jimmy, Brady if he doesn't retire, maybe Nick Foles, and then draft QB next year. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super impressed with Jimmy G either this season. I put him and Derek Carr probably on an even playing field for the year.
I think Derek Carr's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Now the thing is with Jimmy Garoppolo is he knows Josh McDaniel's system. So
Yeah,
that's the thing where we can plug and play and save money. And if we're gonna get mediocre play anyway, we might as well save some money and do in the process, right?
right,
But
right.
if the idea is to keep Devontae Adams happy, I don't think he's going to be happy with a Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. That's the dilemma we're faced with in the offseason. We got to keep Devontae Adams happy or he's gone.
Yeah. Top Beat says the team isn't trying to tank, but some of McDaniel's play calls in the third quarter were suspect to me. On one play, 3rd and 5, McDaniel's calls an obvious running play, and I thought he was taking. I remember that play too. I was
Yeah,
pissed.
me too. Yeah. And to me, like towards the end of the game, it was like 3 minutes left in the fourth, and we decided to punt instead of going for it. That was kind of questionable to me too at the time. Um, I just felt like you can't rely on this defense to kind of do what they're supposed to do in 3 and out and give Carr that last shot to go downfield. I mean, it turned out to be that they did what they had to do with enough time, with no timeouts though. But the decision to punt the ball at that time was kind of like I don't know, man. Like, what do you really putting too much faith in this defense right now when they haven't proven anything?
Right.
So
Yeah,
his play calling is super questionable to me, man. But we gotta live with what we got at this point because Mark Davis, he likes this guy for whatever reason. So we gotta as a fan base, we gotta embrace it.
yeah,
Unfortunately, eat the shit sandwich.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's sometimes it's tough to swallow the pill that we don't get to run shit. You know how much
yeah,
we wish we could.
yeah, man.
Primo said, "Imagine if I'm playing that if game. If the Raiders did what they did yesterday, and 6 other times, they'd be 8-1 right now." I'm gonna take a page out of our buddy Wasted Talents book. If ifs was fifths, we'd all be drunk.
Yeah,
Uh, it hurts to think about that, man. The fact that this team is talented enough to be 8-1, and we're 3-7, man. We were in every game except for the Saints game, and it's reminiscent on this season is painful every time. You look back
yeah.
and see what could have been. Um,
You know what the league is like full, like it's filled with like these one possession games. If you look league wide, like a lot of these games, more than you've ever seen, have been decided by one possession or less. So that's a big stat. That's the biggest stat I think that really matters is like what's your record in these one possession games.
yeah,
Last year we were 7-2. This year we're 1-6. So, it evens out. I think that's how close the competition of football is. And for example, I don't want to talk too much about other teams, but the Vikings last year they weren't great in these one possession games. This year they're great in one possession games.
yeah,
So that's what we get. We get a coin flip. It's a coin flip in these final one possession games. You might get something at that final drive where they're cooking and they figure it out, or you might lay an egg on that final drive. This year we're laying eggs on that final drive, and that's really what has been the big difference in this season is we can't finish games.
yep, yep. We look good 75% of most games.
Yeah.
It's just play call here, a play call here, a missed opportunity here. Um, just small little shit that just makes you fall short, and it's very very fucking frustrating as a fan. I'm sure every single one of you guys know the feeling, and it's just not a good feeling. But when you know that your team is that close every single week, pretty much, it
Yeah.
gives you that little bit of hope that maybe a few changes this offseason, a few of the right moves, maybe we could do something. But
Yeah, and let's look in the mirror, right? Let's assess this season. Can we really say that the team has looked like that terrible? Like, there's moments where we look like we can beat anybody. Like that first half against the Chiefs, we're spanking them, we're destroying them, and the Chiefs are going to get theirs. That they're the Chiefs, but we were in there in that game. We were on the road and we were up 17. So if we can figure out ways to, close games and keep, their foot on their neck, then bro, we're all right. We're good. And I think that, I think that's kind of what they're banking on in the front office is that like, hey, we're hanging with these Super Bowl caliber contenders. We're whooping their ass, but we're not finishing these games. So maybe we should just stick with what we got and see what happens. I think that's kind of what they're thinking right now.
Yeah, and it's tough because there's only one spot where you see that where we really like everybody is saying we need to change, and it just so happens to be the biggest spot on the team. Yep. So it's kind of we all talk about like we're a couple small changes away, but man, that DC change is a big change.
Yeah, Primo's got that's good right there. I mean, those next 4 games.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get excited, man, because I mean we've been disappointed all season. But damn, like Seahawks, we can beat the Seahawks. I don't care what anybody says.
I think Devontae Adams is gonna kill those rookie corners, bro.
Right. He's been killing young corners all season. So he's gonna wreck shop against the Seahawks. We got the Chargers. That's a coin flip every game. It don't matter the record.
Yep.
And then we go to the Rams. The Rams look like hot garbage.
They look just like us. Just as bad, if not worse.
Right. And then Sunday Night Football against the Patriots.
And we sunned them.
Yeah, and as crazy as that sounds, is that Sunday Night Football game is playoff positioning. We come in there 6-7. They're like a 7-6. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like we're looking at meaningful games in December. That's the crazy part. I'm not trying to get nobody excited, bro. I'm really not. I'm just looking at it like, bro, like we're in every game. We're in every game, and there's no reason that we can't, take down the Seahawks on the road, beat the Chargers, whoop on the Rams in LA.
And you know what else?
Sunday night game and whoop some ass.
You know what else on that Sunday night game? It just so happens that's the game where Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow are back.
Yeah.
And Josh is going to want that New England game.
Right. And man, once they get those guys back, you got a full arsenal at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if you notice, the defense seems to be sputtering a little bit is because their second option is Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins isn't a starting receiver in this league. The second option should be Hunter Renfrow or Darren Waller. Yep. And Darren Waller should be Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. That's a 2-3 option. It's interchangeable. But we're rolling with Mac Hollins, who's a special teams he's a special teams guy. He's not a guy that you get the ball to 5-6 times, target him 8 times a game. He's not that receiver. He's never been that receiver. No. But he's a great football player, don't get me wrong. But
he's the occasional killer on a deep route. That's what he's brought in for.
Exactly. So it's like, once we get these guys back, bro, like the offense could look good. I'm just trying to be optimistic. I'm not saying like, yeah, we going 7-0. Like I'm not stupid like that. But
that'd be wild.
It would be wild. But at the same time, it's like, we've been in all these games. So if we start figuring out how to finish these games, you never know. We might be looking at something towards the end of the season. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's what was it? I was gonna have a thought. I was gonna say, kind of talking about Mac Hollins. He's not a receiver, wide receiver too. One of the things I looked at when I was on Spot Track earlier is I noticed there is a pretty solid wide receiver class in the free agency this year. If you had your choice of who to replace Mac Hollins at that spot, who would you choose?
Free agency wise?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure who's up for free agency.
My top 5 I made real quick.
Let me get Spot Track, bro. I mean, Mac Hollins is going to be back next year. I know that for sure. He's going to be
a free agent.
I thought he had a 2-year deal.
So my top 5 that I got for for us in free agency. My number one was Alan Lazard.
Okay.
I think he's definitely one you could get to with his connection with Devontae.
Yeah.
They play together. He's a tall target like Matt Collins, great in the red zone. He's not. I wouldn't say he's super fast, but he can move. He doesn't drop a lot of balls. Number two, Marvin Jones, the third.
He's a little old.
He's a little long in the tooth, man, but the dude still seems to get it done every year.
He does. I like his game.
Number three will be very interesting, and I think this would probably be the fit that we would need the most on the team. Mecole Hardman.
Yeah.
You have Devontae on one side, and you have that speed on the other.
He'll stretch the field for you. That's for sure.
My number four was Matt Collins. Was GB to just bring Matt Collins back?
Okay.
And then my number five would be DJ Chark, who's a free agent again, but very injury prone.
Yeah. You know what? I'm drafting. I'm going draft.
Who do you like?
I'm not saying first round.
No,
but you can find top quality in these mid rounds.
As nice as Jordan Addison would be,
Yeah, I would love Jordan, man, bro. But that's a first round pick. He's a first round
absolutely.
pick, and we're not going to use a first round pick unless we move up in the first after we used our first. Use some draft capital, move up in a late first for a solid second receiver who can possibly be a star. That's something to look at, but I mean that's not realistic either. But no. I guess where I would go is, I mean I like Mecole Hardman, but I don't know if he's that
consistent number two.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily need a consistent number two receiver because if we're sticking with Waller, maybe I don't know what's the plan with that. But if we're sticking with Waller, we're sticking with Renfro.
You're looking for a fourth option.
This is a fourth option, and Mecole Hardman's a perfect fourth option.
Yeah.
So, that I like that if I had to choose one of those five.
For sure. Primo says Lazard and Adams was killer combo in Green Bay. Absolutely. If you give anybody opposite Devontae Adams that's an above average receiver, he's just going to make them that much better because of all the attention that he brings to himself.
You know what I like about Lazard is that he's not one of those household names. And I think Derek Carr plays best when he has a non-household name.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of those guys that I could see soon as he gets signed, he's in the park in Vegas, running them routes and getting that continuity with Derek Carr.
Right.
And that's what we need. We need something like that. So
it seems like when you
go ahead. I don't know if we're getting that from the rest of these receivers. I know Mac Hollins is doing his due diligence. I mean, this dude works hard. That's why they like him so much. But the other receivers, like besides Mac Hollins, like Keelan Cole and the rest of these dudes that are out there, they didn't get that time with Derek Carr, So that's what we need. And I think Alan Lazard would be a perfect candidate for that.
Right. And also, see, back to your point about DC doing well with non-big name receivers, it seems like if you have to pressure DC to get the guy the ball, he's going to have problems. But if he can just go out there and get it to him when he wants to get it to him, and there's no pressure like to get it to him, then it runs a lot smoother. And Primos, appreciate you coming out, buddy. Thank you for showing up.
Appreciate it, bro.
We'll check you out here in a little bit on your live. Everybody, go follow Raider Primos if you haven't. Subscribe. He's going to be doing a live here at 7:00, about the time we'll hop off. Go straight from here over there. Check him out.
Absolutely.
Next thing, how did you do you feel like our defense improved and played well, or do you feel like it was just because the Broncos have a shitty offense?
I think it's a little bit of both, man. It's a little bit of both. You got to remember that the Broncos were without Jerry Jeudy. So our secondary looked a lot better. Cortland Sutton got his. He got his. He was only
Sam Red.
Yeah. So he got about 80 yards, and that was to be expected. I really felt that Russell Wilson was. I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt. I really felt like Russell Wilson was going to actually, kind of get things together towards the end of the season. And and I and I don't know if you noticed that they announced that the Broncos changed play callers. The head coach isn't the play caller anymore. They gave those rights to uh, one of their offensive coordinators or one of their offensive guys, and he was calling plays. So I thought that maybe like, oh, that'll bring a spark to that offense. It was the same old Broncos,
Yeah.
and I think that was to our advantage because we don't have a great defense, and you make a few plays here, a few plays there, you're bringing a lot of confidence to that defense,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you could tell that they're playing a lot. They were playing with a lot of confidence in this game because Denzel Perryman was flying around, man. We don't have to speak on Max Crosby. Max Crosby played like a damn freak.
Oh man.
I think that was one of the most dominant games I've seen from a Raider defender in a very long time. I think
Probably since he had that 4-sack game.
I was going to go further back than that. I was going to go when Mac had the 5-sack game.
Yeah.
It was very dominant. I mean, he even made his mark in the special teams with a blocked field goal.
Just so happened to be against Denver too.
Exactly. So, it just happens to be, these defenders are having these games against the Broncos. We just have their number,
Yeah. One thing I will say, man, if you think back to the Peyton Manning days and how bad they just beat our ass every time, it's a beautiful feeling to have gotten 6 in a row over these motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. And that's one thing we can kind of rest our hat on is that, as bad as shit looks, we're going to whoop the Broncos' ass. and you got to love it, man. And that's what I'm happy about is that, we took care of business against a team I just don't like. Tanking or not, draft movement, draft placement or not, we beat a team that I absolutely despise. And I think that as a Raider Nation, we can kind of all agree on that one.
Right. And I had to address one more thing. On Primos' live pregame.
Yep.
Everybody did a score prediction, and everybody predicted the Raiders to win.
I'll take the tomatoes, bro.
Except for Big Mike.
I got the score damn near right, though.
Yeah, you did.
24-17.
Yeah, I was like,
don't the wrong way.
I was like, just don't do it, man. When we're playing the Broncos, don't do it.
Yeah, I'll take the egg on the face for this one, bro. But you can't blame me, man. Like it was like every game was like we just found new ways to lose, and I just on the road they got a new offensive play caller. They were going to figure out new ways to lose. That was my feeling going into that game.
And I'm not going to lie, if they played literally any other team besides Denver, I probably would have picked them to lose.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But I'm gonna redeem myself for this one because. Way early preview, super early preview. I got the Raiders beating the Seahawks, man.
I do too.
I think they're gonna make your day over at that stadium, man. I think you're gonna have a good day, man.
I hope so, man, because we're 0-2 when I'm over there.
You're gonna go 1-2. It's 1-2. I just really feel like the Raiders are gonna go in there and punch them in the mouth. I think the Seahawks, they have a young team, and they just. With a young team, you lose a lot of games. You lose games that you're not really supposed to be losing in theory, right? And they're going to have some growing pains. They're not supposed to be here at this point. They're not, as far as progression goes.
It feels like we swapped spots with them on who was supposed to be what. We were supposed to have their record. They were supposed to have ours.
Right. And I think that this is the end of the road for them. December football, late November football, you separate the contenders from the pretenders. And I'm not saying we're a contender, but I'm not going to say that the Seahawks are a contender. That's what I'm saying. And I think that they're going to start sliding, and they're going to be fighting it at the end of the season to try to make the playoffs. And I think it's going to start right here with the upset, the Raiders taking care of business in Seattle. So that's how I feel about it. And I'm going to look more into it, but that's how I feel. That's my gut feeling on that one.
Can I get a score prediction?
I think it's gonna be like a 14-point win. I got like 30-16, man.
Woo.
I got 30-16.
Bold.
It's very bold.
Mike's feeling good off that Denver victory,
bro. But no, even before the Denver game, I even told you that they were gonna win.
Yeah. You did.
I
You
just
did.
I just feel like that they're going to figure things out at the end of the season. I think it's going to be too late. But
Yeah.
I think they're going to figure things out at the end of the season. That's kind of how I feel about that offense.
Yeah. So what do you think happens, man? If we finish 8-9, what do you do?
We take that draft placement, we'll probably be in the 13, 14 range. And now we're looking at Ziegler. What are you going to do? How are you going to draft? This is front office. We're looking directly at front office. Now, the whole theory about, draft placement is that it doesn't necessarily matter where you draft, it's how you draft. And I
Right.
think that, all that talk of assessing and being that, assessor of the game and assessor of player personnel, I think that's going to be a big is going to be a big indicator on what kind of job this guy's doing, no matter where we're drafting.
Yeah.
Right now, it's evident that we're not tanking. It's evident we're not tanking. So, now to me, it's like, okay, where are we going to draft? And as soon as we find out where we're going to draft, that's when we have to start assessing and being very effective in that whole process of assessing who's going to be the best available at that position. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with it. I think we'll be, if we do go like 8-9, we'll be at the 12 to 14 range, and you can still find good value there. There's good value. So
I wouldn't mind a Brian Breezy.
Yeah, I like him. He's very athletic, D tackle. I saw him play a little bit. My concern with him is I know he's had some injuries in the past, but when he's on the field, the man's dominant.
Yeah.
So
you could also see a Will Levis fall right about that range.
That is true.
And then, but if we're 8-9, 9-8, is DC getting his another shot?
He is.
You think so?
He is, and he isn't having he's not having the season that we all expected him to have. I had him win an MVP, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
I had him in the running.
I had him in the running for MVP. I had him throwing about 5K this year. And
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, he still could.
He could. He really could. But
he's
it's
only
not the way we're expecting him to do it,
And he's got a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio at this point, which is wild.
It's wild, bro. And here's the thing about these NFL quarterbacks and quarterbacks in general. If you look at the Patrick Mahomes, you look at the Justin Herberts and Joe Burrows, there's like a small group of guys that you're like, okay, these are guys that I'm 100% sticking with, right?
Yeah.
Outside of maybe a group of 5 or 6 quarterbacks, it's all interchangeable.
Right.
We're talking about a Dak Prescott who is just as inconsistent as Derek Carr, but people consider him to be in a top 10 quarterback in his league.
Yeah.
But people were calling for his head not too long ago. People were talking about starting Cooper Rush over him.
It's a what have you done for me lately league.
Exactly. So, I think that we really need to stop being so hyperbolic with how we feel about Derek Carr and look at the bigger body of work. And I'm going to wait till the end of the season to see where we're at.
Yeah. Because
I think that's what the Raiders are doing as a front office. They're not gonna be so emotional on one game, not even 2 games. I think they're gonna look at the big body of work at the end of the season, and then they're gonna make a decision on Derek Carr then.
Right.
And to be honest with you, Devontae Adams has 10 touchdowns halfway through the season. And he's been only showing town as far as a consistent wide receiver. So if you give Derek Carr a solid second option at receiver, you might see something different from him. I know we've been giving him a shit ton of chances to get things right, but he's still putting up big numbers. That's my point. He's still putting up big enough numbers for the front office to justify bringing him back. That's all I'm saying about that one.
Absolutely. Top Beat said only 4 or 5 real top quarterbacks outside of Rodgers and Brady. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Yep.
And it's Derek Carr has his days where he's, a top 5 to 10 quarterback, man, and then he has days where he is dead blast number 32 and you want to throw shit at him.
Dude, like last year was a point last year where I was like, Derek Carr's the MVP, pay this man, let's keep him. And then there was other times I was like, let this let this dude go.
Yeah.
Let this man go, let him walk. That's what we get with Derek Carr.
Yep.
That's just
It's
right
it being it's kind of funny because following Derek Carr is a lot like following the Raiders as a whole. You get he'll start playing like 2, 3, 4 games in order. You're like, oh shit, here we go.
Yep.
And then it's like 2, 3, 4 games where you're like, oh fuck, they got me again.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's
it's like
exactly what we're getting with him, man.
Yep, they keep bringing our hopes up just to fucking throw him back on the ground. And at one point, you just gotta feel like, man, at some point, this dude is gonna fully get it together,
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what they're thinking is that year 2 of that offense, he might break out, and we heard the same thing about John Gruden's offense. It's so complex and this and that. And we saw Derek Carr in year 2 and year 3 really break out and put up big numbers. His best career numbers were in that second year and third year under John Gruden.
Yeah, in the first year, I believe he threw under 20 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you see? What's the threshold here? Like, where exactly? What do you need to see from Derek Carr, and where do the Raiders need to finish as far as win total for Derek Carr to be back next year?
He's got to flirt with a winning season. I think he's got to flirt with a winning season. We can't lose. We can't go 6-11 or 7-10. And it's also how you lose the games, right? If Derek Carr is throwing about 300 a pop, but the defense is laying an egg, then you really got to consider keeping him. But if Derek Carr is going out there and losing games, throwing interceptions, which he really honestly hasn't been doing. No. Fumbles, he's been on a minimum with that too. He hasn't been turning the ball as much as we've seen in years past.
He's thrown 1 interception in the last month.
Exactly. So, we got to assess how the Raiders are losing. I'm not going to give a winning total. I'm gonna assess like I said, the big body of work, how the Raiders are losing, what Derek Carr is doing in these games, and really assess it from there. Winning total is kind of part of the body of work. I would like to see him flirting with the winning season, like an 8 to 9 wins. I'm not going to say 10 because that's unrealistic. I'm not saying he has to win out, but he has to be competitive in December. That's what I want to see from him.
Yeah, for me, it's 8. He's got to get 8.
Yeah.
8 was a 500 record 2 years ago, and if you can pull yourself out of the basement and get to right there, right on the brink of 500, maybe you get another chance. Other than that, I need him. I need 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns.
That's realistic.
I need something to look at that's like, yes, this is worth giving him another shot yet again.
That's part of the body of work. I need statistically to see a mark. We need to set a benchmark on where we expect him to be. Mm-hmm. And 4,530 touchdowns sounds pretty fair to me, man.
He's only hit 30 touchdowns once in his career. So if he can prove he can get back to his elite self, his prime numbers from his best years, then we got something to talk about. But if we're in position to get one of the top quarterbacks, we're gonna. Yeah. So if we don't win enough to get out of that position and those guys are available right there, you got to go get them. Now, if we with that 13th, 14th pick, do you go get someone like Will Levis and sit him behind DC and just in case? Or do you get somebody in the later rounds?
I gotta see them perform in the combine. I gotta see their pro day.
Hendon Hooker might be available in the 4th or 5th now.
Yeah, because that torn ACL. I will wait.
That's sad, man.
Yeah, it is sad. I will go with Hendon Hooker. I will really assess and evaluate him and really pick him up in the 3rd, 4th round and sit him behind Derek Carr for 1 year.
Yeah.
It almost
What's good, Red?
Yo, what's up, bro? It almost fits us perfectly for that to happen because we're not expending a top round, like a first or second rounder for a quarterback. And if Derek Carr plays well towards the end of the season, we can afford to grab, a quarterback who is trying to recover from an ACL and sit him and let him learn this offense
while he recovers.
while he recovers. So that almost works perfectly for us.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like it makes sense for it to happen that way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If Hendon Hooker's there in the 4th or 5th, and you're not sure about your guy, if you're not sold on him 100%,
yep,
I couldn't see a better option.
Yeah, and
then
let me. I'm gonna pull. Go. You can go ahead, man. I want to pull up Derek Carr. What it would cost for us to move on from him in 24 instead of 23.
All right,
I'm gonna pull that up, but you can go ahead, man. I'm gonna pull it up on Spot Track right now.
Okay. Critique says we could use another quarterback regardless. Jarrett Stidham is trash. I mean, I don't think anybody's planning on watching Jarrett Stidham this season, no matter what. DC comes out and throws 6 interceptions in the next game, maybe, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, I mean, you can go get Hendon Hooker in the 4th round. You take that mid-round, first-round pick, and you go get the best defensive player you can possibly get, whether it's a Joey Porter Jr., a Brian Breezy, a Trenton Simpson, a Noah Sewell. There's a lot of defensive players in that in the top 15 in the first round. Even toward the back half, there's a lot of potential there. You get a Kelly Ringo. There's a ton of potential. If Josh Jacobs walks, maybe you go out on a limb and you want to pair up Bijan Robinson with Zamir White. I wouldn't go that direction, but it's an option.
It is an option. So here's the thing with Derek Carr. He's not getting paid he's not getting paid $40 million next year. He's getting paid $41 million in 2024.
What's he getting next year?
Next year he's getting 32.9. I can work with 32.9. That's about what you're gonna get. Like that's an above average payday for a quarterback. And he's playing, let's just say he's above average. He's above average type of quarterback. It is a $5 million cap hit for him if we do get rid of him. If we just let him go, that's a $5.6 million cap hit, which is not bad next year. But in 2024, that dead cap hit is only $3.7 million.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2024, you're paying him $41.9 million.
And you'll know by then. So I would say for everybody to you got to be patient, because I think we're going to keep DC. I really feel like, I really look at the numbers. I really look at what they did this game. Doesn't seem like they're tanking. It doesn't seem like they're trying to move on from Derek Carr. I think that he's going to get one more year to try to figure this out. And they're going to pay him $32.9 million next year. And if he doesn't work out, then they're going to let him walk, because they're not going to pay him $42 million in 2024. So if we don't get rid of Derek Carr's contract, do you believe we will move on from Darren Waller's contract?
That contract we need to end that one. I think, without looking at the numbers, just off of like what we're getting from Darren Waller, we're not getting anything at all from Darren Waller.
Yeah.
So he's on the wrong side of 30. That takes a longer time to recover from injuries.
And Foster Moreau was looking pretty nice yesterday.
And Foster Moreau looks good. He looks good enough to be a starter on this team. There's continuity with him. He connects well with Derek Carr. If he's given that top role as a tight end, he's going to play better. I think if you give him more targets, I think there's a lot of confidence and continuity that we will look with the Foster Moreau, and being more involved with this offense. We'll see we'll get a bigger sample size with him on what we want to do offensively with Foster Moreau.
Yeah,
I think it just doesn't make sense to keep Darren Waller at this point.
Yeah. Jumping back to that Denver game, it looked like Josh Jacobs got back to what he was doing before the last couple games. Also, he looked really nice as well. It seems like, man, I'm at a point where I think you gotta go and try to keep Josh. I don't want to see Josh get out of here, man. I think you save money with Waller. I think you take Waller's money and you go and give it to re-sign Jacobs and Moreau.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're going to get what we think we're going to get for Darren Waller. We
I
like
think
to
we're getting a
think.
third.
I think we get lower than that, man,
Really?
and I'll be okay with that because with that we're saving cap and we'll be able to pay a Josh Jacobs and we'll be able to pay a Foster Moreau at the same time.
Yeah.
We don't have to give Foster Moreau $17 million a year. We can
No.
give Foster
5.
Moreau about a good fraction of that, and on top of that, we can pay
Josh.
Josh Jacobs.
We give Josh 10, 9.
So if that means we're taking an L with the trade, like we get a fourth or a fifth for Darren Waller, I'm okay with that because we'll be able to pay two weapons that we know we're going to get something from them.
Yeah. How long do you extend Josh?
I'm going to give him 3 years.
3?
And I'm gonna top load that contract with loads of incentives. I want to give him what he deserves that first year. I will give him what he deserves the second year with incentives, and then kind of give him a little bit around the same, a little bit less with incentives on that third year because running backs, they're a dime a dozen for one, for two, their expiration date is pretty quick.
Yeah.
They're like milk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They,
Definitely. They spoil quick.
They spoil quick, and Josh Jacobs isn't a speedy guy, but he's a sturdy running back and he's a consistent running back. So on the upside, yeah, you can get a Josh Jacobs. He'll still run the ball like he's running right now, but on the third year, you're looking at a 28-year-old Josh Jacobs who will probably lose a step. Are you really going to count on him as your bell cow running back 3 years from now? Like,
no,
I don't think so.
I was when I asked you how long you extend him. I had 2 years in my mind, so we're about right at the same idea.
Yeah, so 2 years sounds about right. 3 years might be a stretch.
2 years with an option, maybe. You kind of team option. If he's still running like he is now in 2 years, give him another year.
Yeah. And Raider Critique was asking about a car restructure. I don't think we have to restructure him, to be honest. Like a quarterback to Carr's like caliber, $32 million isn't. That's kind of a steal, to be honest. Yeah. It really is kind of a steal.
Although I do believe if you ask DC to restructure, I think I guarantee he would.
Bro, if you told him to jump off this building to play for the Raiders, he's going to jump off the building.
Hell yeah.
The Raiders. He's just that type of dude. And that's the problem. That's the whole dilemma we have with Derek Carr, right? Is that he's so loyal to this franchise and this fan base. It's hard to hate the dude. But at the same time, he's not producing as far as wins go. And that's kind of where we divide at that point. We're looking at his loyalty versus results. A lot of guys are just looking result based. A lot of the guys are looking at loyalty based. I'm somewhat in the middle. I want to see both. I like both, And I think if Derek Carr's playing at what he played this past week, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with bringing him for 1 year and seeing if he can bring that continuity to that offense and break out that second year under Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have been like, fuck no, get him out of here.
Yeah.
But, it's hard because I think we all have a special place for DC in our hearts. And I think you ask almost any Raider fan, man, and you ask if you could win with any quarterback. I mean, I think every single one of us is pretty much going to choose DC. There's nobody I'd rather win with, but it comes to the point where you got to win.
You know what? It's an authentic feel to it. Like this is a guy that we built up and he's been through the trials and tribulations with us, and it would just be a storybook ending, and it would just be if the world was fair, Derek Carr will win a Super Bowl with us. But then you flip it over, right? We win with a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. It just seems manufactured and bought.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we want to see a Super Bowl. We
Right.
want to be there and win some Super Bowls.
It's like I don't give a fuck who's at quarterback. I want to win. But
Right.
if you had your choice, a win with DC would be so much sweeter.
Yeah. If somebody put a genie put a gun to my head or something, right? And it was like, hey, you're gonna win the Super Bowl, but you have to choose how you're gonna win this Super Bowl, DC or a legend like Tom Brady. And be like, I'm going with DC all day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it's about that time. I think Raider Primos is about to go live, and I want all of us to probably jump over there and check him out. All three of us.
Hey, also, if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Big Mike Raider.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, we do a weekly show right now. We're just doing that right now. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I do want to talk Raiders. And if you guys can go over there and check it out, man, that'd be great. I appreciate it.
Big Mike also breaks down film really well, man. He has a lot of videos where he breaks down. He just did one for Neil Farrell not too long ago. It was really good.
Max Crosby one cooking up right now. So
hell yeah, I'm there. Go subscribe to Big Mike. Please continue, share and subscribe to this show. Hit that like button, and we continue to make this thing grow, man. Big Mike, I'll probably see you over at Primos in some form or way. Everybody have a good night. Be safe.